How you doing?
I'm great. How are you guys? I'm Ariana with Fresh Pair of Eyes.
Wonderful. So
Great.
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. So, why do you guys think that sisters have a more complicated relationship than any other sibling combination?
Whew, how long do you have? Um, I
It's a
think
great question
it's such a
too.
great
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
I think sisters have, the same set of inputs, and yet can be such widely different people that their responses become so different. And I think that oftentimes the world is made for men. And so I think that men tend to, without generalizing, have a little bit of an easier time seeing themselves in the world. I think whereas women are contending with a lot of pressure in terms of who they ought to be and what they ought to look like, and when they fail to meet those standards, and when they're constantly comparing themselves to somebody else who is in this exact same position, making different decisions and choices about how to meet and answer those questions, it can become quite complicated. And I think writing about sisters has always been somewhat of a radical act. Back to
Right.
Louisa May Alcott and before. So
Also, let's not forget sisters are feral. I think that when they are cross, there is like run for the hills.
Yeah. The character of Catherine is so interesting because she's the most honest character in a show that is filled with so many secrets. What was it like shaping Catherine as a character, and especially with her scene with Nicky in the kitchen when she's just very blunt with her and their relationship with the sister relationship?
Oh, we love that you picked out that scene. It's one of our favorite scenes.
Yes.
Catherine is such an incredible character. Catherine's one of those. We always had Lorraine Toussaint in mind when we were thinking about Catherine, which is such a gift to have as you're thinking about and creating a character. And I think that ferocious honesty, that commitment to truth and to power by any means necessary, allows her to call things as she sees them and as they are, a little bit more than some of our other characters, because she's taking a broader view in some sense. And we love that moment with her and with she and Nicky, because they recognize there's a mutual respect and recognition there that's unexpected and
Yep.
surprised, because Nicky is also a truth teller in many ways and somebody who calls things like she sees it. And so it was so fun for us because Catherine and Chloe they're so much mentor and mentee and sort of mother-daughter. And then to have Nicky come in and have this different relationship with Catherine was so rich.
Also, Lorraine was very instrumental in shaping the scene.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a lot of discussions with her, which were very important to what we were trying to do there. And to be honest, like we weren't sure what we were trying to do until we got into it with her. And then everything kind of crystallized, and we're like, oh, this is that. This is it. This is who these women are together. And they bring out such different aspects of each other too. It's interesting to see Nicky kind of on her heels a little bit because she's in control in so many other scenes. It was really such a delight. But Lorraine was very helpful.
Absolutely.
Yes. Why is art so important to Nicky and her crafts and her outlet, and Chloe doesn't have this outlet?
I love your questions. They're so smart. I think there is a fundamental messiness at play in the act of creation and the act of creativity that Nicky is comfortable with, because she's done a lot of work to understand that that's the condition of life. It's messy and it unfolds, and you kind of have to be listening to it. And I think that Chloe's career path and her choice of what she was going to do in her life is an area that's adjacent to that. It's near creativity, but she can exert a bit more control. There are standards, in journalism, there's a certain expectation for how things might go, and rungs and ways you ought to be. And so I think that Nicky's creative outlet and the expression of sort of the fullness and the richness and the messiness of life finds its place in her art. I think you can see it in Chloe's house, that she's got a lot of art, and I'll shamelessly plug all of the art in Chloe's house is done by my mother. I shamelessly will plug, but it's very good art. But I think you see ways in which Chloe has connections to it, but can't live in the fullness of it the way that Nicky can.
I think the greatest thing about Nicky too is that she would never say, I'm an artist.
Yes.
She just is, and that's probably the difference between them fundamentally, naming who you are and just letting the world sort of perceive you. There's a nice contrast there between them.
Definitely.
Yes, for sure. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. Congrats on this, and I can't wait to talk to you guys about future projects.
Thank you so much. So great to meet you.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks.